Jack Dorsey is in the hot seat, CEO of Twitter, who talks about how his job is to foster a healthy conversation on Twitter. He used to say that Twitter was the free speech wing of the free speech party, but he walked that back. Now they have a hate speech policy. Now he thinks, you know what, he's going to start banning people who say hateful things. Unfortunately for Mr. Dorsey, my God, he engaged in hate speech off-platform. Now Twitter says they're starting to weigh off-platform behavior as to whether or not they will ban or suspend or limit someone on Twitter. Would then, after Jack Dorsey's hate speech, he be banned? Obviously not, because it's always about rules for me, rules for thee, but not for me. So here's one tweet. It's from Anna Vedekad. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. During Twitter CEO Jack's visit here, he and Twitter's legal head, Vijaya, took part in a roundtable with some of us women journalists, activists, writers, and Twitter India's Amritat to discuss the Twitter experience in India, a very insightful, no words minced conversation. Now, what did he do wrong? Here, in this photo, he's holding up a sign that says "Smash Brahminical Patriarchy." Apparently, that is a direct reference to the caste system, and he's holding the sign. So she responded, and those not in the frame, thank you for a friend. Yeah, we don't need it. Sandeep Betal, IPS, said, "Do you realize that this picture has potential of causing communal riots at a time when several states are going to assembly elections in India? Even now, an apology is not offered. Actually, it's a fit case for registration of a criminal case for attempt to destabilize the nation." And Sandeep says he is the Joint Secretary, Parliament of India, ex-secretary at various organizations. He's verified, and he looks like he's wearing fancy government clothes. Now, here's the story, and then we've got a statement from Twitter India. From The Guardian, Twitter CEO upsets Hindu nationalists during India visit. Jack Dorsey accused of hate speech after posing with sign criticizing country's caste system. Now, here's the funny thing. I am the person who constantly says you should be allowed to express yourself, even if what you say is awful. I will defend to the death your right. I disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Because in this instance, Jack is being accused of hate speech for holding up a "Smash Brahminical Patriarchy." That's the equivalent, I'm told, of "Smash White Patriarchy" in the U.S. Smash White Patriarchy in the U.S. Now, in the U.S., while technically, yes, saying that would be considered hate speech by according to all these rules, they don't actually uphold, for the most part, when someone says something negative about white people or patriarchy, it gets overlooked most of the time. Now, Facebook actually was banning a ton of women for posting anti-men things because they're like, hate speech is hate speech. And thus, they don't learn their lesson. Because now, in another country, your exact policy is being wielded against you, Jack, the CEO of Twitter, are engaging in hate speech. I'd love to see Jack get banned from his own platform for hate speech. It won't happen. There you go. Twitter's chief executive has upset Hindu nationalists and some members of the Brahmin caste in India by posing for a picture with a placard reading "Smash Brahminical Patriarchy." I got it wrong, it's Brahminical. A leading policy officer for the company had apologized to users and told them neither Twitter nor Dorsey endorsed the sign's message that the oppression of the Hindu caste system, which places Brahmins at the top, must be dismantled alongside male dominance. That, in turn, has angered Indian activists who oppose patriarchy and the caste system. You can't win! No matter what you do or say, it's hate speech, plain and simple. Welcome to your game, where the rules were laid out by you, and now no matter what you do, you're breaking them. Congratulations, Jack. This is why we all keep warning you that hate speech rules will be wielded against you, because you have placed yourself in between a wedge. You are in a wedge now, where to the left of you, it's hate speech because you're supporting the patriarchy, but to the right of you, it's hate speech because you're calling out the government and their culture. No matter what you do, you're wrong. Get banned, right? Yeah, right. I'd like to see that happen. Dorsey has been touring India, one of Twitter's fastest growing markets, meeting figures including the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, and the Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan. Here's the photo I just showed a moment ago, where Jack is engaging in the hate speech against basically everyone. Last weekend, the Twitter chief met a group of journalists, writers, and activists in Delhi to hear about their experiences on the website and app, which has been criticized for facilitating the abuse and harassment of prominent Indian women. Among the attendees to the off-the-record event was an activist belonging to the Dalit, formerly untouchable caste, that occupies the bottom rung of the intricate system that still determines the shape of most Hindu lives. The Guardian understands the activist gave Dorsey the sign at the beginning of the closed-door session and that he was still holding it at the end when the photograph was taken. It sparked anger among some Brahmins who are regarded as the highest caste, as well as from Hindu nationalists who seek to downplay the religion's fissures and unite adherents under a single cultural and political umbrella. Among critics were senior journalists and business people, as well as prominent figures on the Hindu right. Rajiv, I don't know how to pronounce, I'm sorry, Malhotra, shocking. A smash Brahminical poster on proud display during Twitter CEO Jack's visit to India. Is this demonology of Brahmins by foreign, breaking India forces acceptable? Is it hate speech? Yes, it is literally hate speech. Woke up to, this is from Chitra Subramaniam. Woke up Tuesday morning to see Brahmin names floating around on my timeline. If smashing Brahminical patriarchy is not an incitement to violence, what is? An influential platform like Twitter must be responsible. It's another man, Abhinav Agarwal. Here I translate it for you. Someone gave our CEO a Hindu-phobic poster advocating hate and violence against a religious minority, and our CEO accepted it unquestioningly and then posed for a photo with it. And we think it's totally okay. He's responding to a statement from Twitter India. Let's read that and come back to what he said, because it's really interesting. They said, recently we hosted a closed-door discussion with a group of women journalists and change makers in India to better understand their experience using Twitter. One of the participants, a Dalit activist, shared her personal experiences and gifted a poster to Jack. Imagine if Jack was handed a swastika and he was just laughed and held up, didn't know what it was. Would that be okay? No, it would not. This is not smash the white patriarch. It's not the same thing. Apparently, it's targeting a religious minority. Yeah, hate speech, Jack. It is not a statement from Twitter or our CEO, but a tangible reflection of our company's efforts to see, hear, and understand all sides of important public conversations that happen on our service around the world. Imagine if Twitter embraced some of the conversations they had on their platform, which included people holding up swastikas, right? That would never be acceptable. And this is not an apology. It's an excuse. Let's go back to what this man says. He's translating what they said, that someone gave our CEO a Hindu-phobic poster advocating hate and violence against a religious minority. Smash Brahminical patriarchy. That's a religious minority and you're telling them to smash people. This is what happens when you enact and advocate for hate speech. You will eventually be accused of hate speech, plain and simple. I'm very sorry for this. Vijaya God, Twitter's legal and policy head, told one user, it's not reflective of our views. We took a private photo with a gift just given to us. We should have been more thoughtful, right? Like if someone gifted you a swastika, you'd be like, I don't know what this is. I'm just going to wiggle it around in a photo for everyone to see, okay? Obviously, the smash the Brahminical patriarchy isn't the same as a swastika. I'm just trying to be hyperbolic. I'm making a point that just because someone gifts you something doesn't mean you should embrace it and pose with it if you don't know what it means. But this is what happens when people are just doop-a-doop-a-doop, I'll do whatever I want. You know, I don't know what it is. Here's a sign. Maybe you should read what you're doing first, because you now have one of the most prominent platform CEOs essentially advocating for this belief, and people are now going to believe that Twitter's endorsing this kind of thing. Twitter strives to be an impartial platform for all, she added. We failed to do that here, and we must do better to serve our customers in India. That apology angered others, who argued Twitter should forthrightly oppose Brahmanism, the system of beliefs and practices that perpetuates the place of Brahmins in India's social order. And this is where it gets so good. Because they went, no, we don't believe what the sign says. No, we're not advocating for smashing Brahminical patriarchy. And then everyone else on the left went, you mean you support the patriarchy? Yeah, more hate speech. So after this response, Sandhya Ramesh said, terribly disappointing on behalf of Twitter. Both Brahmanism and patriarchy are oppressive by nature. So why would Twitter's views not reflect giving space to marginalized voices? Calling pandering impartial is just a cop-out preventing actual efforts to make the space equal. It was the latest misstep for a major Silicon Valley company in India, a frontier market where many technology firms have been focusing their resources as their customer bases in Europe, the US, and Australia become saturated. Listen, cultures are not all the same. You can't go to India and think you can wiggle around something that you understand in the US and think it's going to go over fine. But here's what I absolutely love about all of this, is that you reap what you sow. Jack sowed the seeds of these hate speech policies, goes to a country where he's basically committed hate speech against literally everyone. Okay? The right, who are like, how dare you target this religious minority, and the left saying, no, he must target this religious minority. It's really interesting now that it's being called Hindu-phobic. Why is it that these, let's relate to the US. You can rag on Christian beliefs all day and night, but not Islamic ones. And I think that's where the issue comes. Because these people genuinely believe hate speech should be banned, but obviously punching up is okay. And if the Brahmins are on top, surely that's okay. Wrong. They're considered a religious minority by many people, in which case you just advocated for violence against a religious minority. Jack, I don't really think Jack should be banned from his platform. I'm being facetious. I hope that comes across, to everybody watching. I just think it's so silly how they ban people. How Jack thinks he's the arbiter of healthy conversation, and that he has the right to impose rules on others as to what they can or cannot say in the public sphere, which I admit is on a private platform, Twitter. But here he reaps his own. There's your reward for what you've advocated for. They say, and then they basically just end by talking about snafus. They said Twitter on its official account seemed to sum up the situation in a tweet on Monday night. Awkward. Is that all I had to say? Awkward. Congratulations, Twitter. Twitter's a garbage platform. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna get out of here. You can find me on Twitter at Timcast. More videos at youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel. Go check it out. I had another video up today. If you didn't see it, I'll see you all tomorrow.